Hey now, it's Brace for Impact, and I'm your host, Mike Gilbert, and I'm joined as always by JD by God Oliva. How you doing, JD?
Good. I was looking myself in the preview window and it looked like I had some weird chroma key issues going on, and I don't even have a chroma key felt around, so that was bizarre, but we're good, man.
Hmm. Yeah, we're good. I switched browsers today, so hopefully we don't have those same issues that we were having last week with
You're finally you're
the.
finally on Chrome, huh?
Well, so I use Chrome for StreamYard, and so I pull up a separate browser. So I just pulled the Safari browser to actually, do the recap portion. So I have two different ones, and so instead I just created a new tab, dragged it over using all Chrome all the time. You good?
I knocked my computer over. Sorry.
All right. So, we got big news to talk about. Hold on. Let me we didn't get a chance to hit the button last week, so hold on.
Breaking news.
Jonathan Gresham, as announced by Impact Wrestling, as we saw earlier on Impact tonight, he made his return to help Eddie Edwards, or to help Delirious fight off Eddie Edwards from a post-match attack, and he has been added to the roster. Saying that he is, I'm gonna go ahead and say he's signed, right? Not like an exclusive contract, not like that, but I think I feel pretty confident saying he has signed with Impact. He is no longer with AEW/ROH. And so this is the word that we're getting. And I need to reach out to our friend that actually told us this, like the guy with
Can
the
we
scoops.
can we say who it is? We have to keep that on the DL.
So he posted publicly in the Fight Game Media Facebook group, but one time he did this, he did ask not to be.
Oh,
You
okay.
know what I mean? But I don't know, but he posts news all the time, and it's like public for everybody to see. So I don't know. I'm not going to say the guy's name, just for fear of that he doesn't want to be named. So,
Yeah, fair.
but we do have some specifics on the Jonathan Gresham deal. So as of now, he is no longer with Impact or with AEW/ROH. And he was actually pitched to win the Cruiserweight Classic in WWE, which is returning in 2023. So that was a kind of a Triple H staple to CWC. That is making its return to, sir, yes.
Is it?
The Cruiserweight Classic, that was absolutely Triple H's tournament. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Oh, it really?
Yeah.
Is Triple
That
H
was his in
still-
NXT.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know, I believe you, but is it going to
Okay.
come back in 2023? Are we
This was,
sure?
I don't know. Well, more on that on the Patreon. I think JD has a conspiracy theory, and I think I'm kind of with you on that one. So, but as of now, it looks like it's returning in 2023. I don't think that news has actually hit the wire. So, but Tony Khan has frozen Gresham's deal. So Tony Khan basically gave him a conditional release, and he has a non-compete, and he cannot compete against. He can only not go to WWE. So it looks like he is with Impact. He becomes a free agent in April of 2024. That's what our friend is saying. The friend who shall remain nameless. He doesn't know the specifics of the contract, but he doesn't know anything about exclusivity, yada yada, the details of the contract with Impact. But he is indeed with Impact. It looks like until April 2024. So that's what we have for right now. But I think that's great news, man. I'm a big Jonathan Gresham fan, man.
He was it wasn't gonna work, right?
No.
Where he was. It just wasn't gonna work. Plethora of reasons on both sides. Didn't sound like it was a good fit for either guy.
Yeah.
I think this is good for Impact. And quite frankly, I think him going, if he did get to go to the WWE, the cruiserweight label has always been the kiss of death over there.
Yeah.
So I think this is better for everyone involved. If they're paying him well, I think this is Tony Khan, doing something good for Impact in this case. Let him sign. You could say, oh, he should have been released. But well, Mustafa Ali hasn't gotten released, and he's asked like 19 times. So whatever, this is the way it goes. And quite frankly, this is an Impact show, and this benefits us. So I like it.
Yeah. I'm a Jonathan Gresham fan. Jonathan Gresham being an Impact is good for me personally because I enjoy covering his work.
Me too.
I thought so I was never a big Ring of Honor guy, but they had certain guys that I enjoyed watching. Jonathan Gresham was one of those guys, along with the Briscoes, and I was very grateful to get both of the Briscoes and the Gresham into Impact earlier this year. I was disappointed to see Gresham leave the company and go to Ring of Honor. Obviously, didn't work there. He it's hard to say that he's like released. I don't. It's weird the way that they're doing it. They're not. He can go anywhere he wants as long as it's not WWE. So that's why he's here in Impact. Impact and AEW, or they seem to be homies still. So that's why we're getting this, and I'm pretty excited about it. And the way Impact brought him back. Who was Jonathan Gresham supposed to face at Rebellion earlier this year before he got the concussion?
Well, that'd be Eddie Edwards.
That would be Eddie Edwards. They never got the match. We never saw him in Impact again. And now we get the match, and it looks like we're going to get us a Gresham run here in Impact.
I love it. I have zero qualm with any of this. Hey, I'll tell you what. If Malachi Black said, "Hey, please let me go. I want to go to Impact," I don't think it would have been as much of a problem.
Yeah. I don't think so at all.
I mean, it's no different than what they're doing with Regal over there, right? Sure, you can go back to WWE, can't be on TV.
I think that's fair.
Thanks, fair too.
Yeah. I don't see the issue with that. Of course, look, you don't want him to go to a direct competitor. So so I always relate everything to football. And a lot of times when a football player is unhappy with either their contract or with their playing time, or unhappy with the current team that they're on, before they give the guy a conditional release, they try to trade him away or give him to another team that is not direct in competition with them to avoid making sure that they don't go to a team in their division. So the 49ers earlier this year, instead of releasing Jimmy Garoppolo outright because they couldn't trade him, they knew that Garoppolo, if they were to release him, he would have been signed by the Seattle Seahawks. So instead of that, they went ahead and just kept him on as the backup, and he became a starter again. That's a whole nother thing. So that stuff happens in sports all the time. Impact, whether people like this or not, is not a direct competitor to AEW.
They're not a competitor.
No, they're not. They're like friends. They have partnerships, but Impact getting a little bit of buzz is not going to hurt AEW at all. I mean, they're getting 10 times the viewership, probably 20 to 30 times the pay-per-view buys. This is not a war here, right? This is no big deal.
No, they get along. Frankie was just there on loan, and we've had it several times where guys come to Impact on loan from AEW. So this is great. I think it's like I don't know if yeah, sure. We'll say we got Gresham and they got Big Bill.
Yeah, big. Oh my God. So you remember when Morrissey debuted at Rebellion a couple years ago? And we flat out made fun of the W. Morrissey name, buried it. And then after a while, I got used to it, right? I ended up being okay with the name. And for them to just change it to Big Bill.
Big Bill.
What are they doing? Are they just completely void of any creativity?
Well, I don't know. W. Morrissey wasn't creative either. I mean, like, there's just something with the dude's name, I guess, he's just cursed to have because Big Cass was a stupid freaking name too. Like when you really think about Big Cass, like that's not good. This guy is just cursed to have this giant body. He's shredded, a lot of back knee. But he's just never gonna have a good name, no matter what company he's had. In my thought, he's 3 for 3 with shitty names in big companies.
I got used to W. Morrissey. I thought it was ridiculous at first.
Because we said it every week.
Yeah,
we got used to it.
Yeah, no, we definitely got used to it. Well, and
you'll get used to Big Bill in time, but it doesn't change the fact that it's terrible.
I don't know that I'll get used to Big Bill.
You'll get used to Big Bill. Eventually, we'll just say Big Bill, and unironically, and it'll just be part of those things. And then one day he'll go, Big Bill's on tonight, and you're like, Big Bill, what the fuck? Like, terrible name, terrible name.
I don't know that he'll.
Also,
I don't know that he'll be on Dynamite enough for me to get used to that name.
they'll push him.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. He was gonna go. Like, did you hear Stokely's interview with Renee?
No.
Did you catch that one? I'm just curious.
No,
it was really good. Honestly, really good interview. Highly recommend it. He talks a lot about.
Is he better on podcasts than he is on TV?
Yes, he's being
quite
himself.
Disappointed.
No, he's just being himself and talking about mental struggles and problems he's had. It's really heartfelt, really good interview. And they were gonna feud with Punk.
Yeah,
the firm was built to feud with CM Punk, and as we've seen, Tony Khan does not react well when injuries happen. He
Mhm.
just kind of, there's no pivoting with that guy. If it don't work, he just kind of throws his hands up in the air and doesn't know what to do next.
Takes off
So
TV for a while. Yeah.
yeah, it just takes him off TV for a while. So the firm was kind of DOA because the guy they were supposed to feud with, had some stuff. Ate a
Yeah.
bad
Yeah.
ate a
Of
bad
course.
muffin, and his career's never been the same.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're gonna go ahead and get into the recap portion of the show. I'm excited about Jonathan Gresham. Oh, and also part of that news, he's going to be taking on Eddie Edwards at Hard to Kill on January 13th. More Hard to Kill news coming up later in the show on Patreon. So go to patreon.com/fightgamemedia. We're gonna talk some more Hard to Kill stuff. I think Eric Bischoff might be involved somehow, so we'll get into that a little bit. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We got another new signing. Impact's bringing in another former WWE talent, so we'll talk about that. Plus, we're gonna get into the Mandy Rose stuff, and then pivot into some more Sasha Banks stuff because I think JD wants to take some victory laps.
I have several victory laps that I have to take. I've been telling you guys this for months,
Yeah.
but I don't. Whatever. If we're gonna get into the Mandy Rose stuff, are we gonna lose our jobs here too?
No,
Like,
because we are
I,
we are gonna be
I,
professional.
I cannot show my butthole to anybody. Like, that's not gonna
No,
happen.
no, no.
Did you
All
see
right, so
any of her
let's.
stuff? Did you see any of the Mandy Rose stuff?
No, so
Me
I
neither.
know some of it leaked online, but I don't want to click on the link because it'll give my phone AIDS. I'm just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
Not
exactly what you mean.
not interested, and I also don't want that in my browser history. Like, I just don't want like stuff to pop up. I'm like, I'm a dad now. My daughter uses my phone all the time. Like, she likes to
Oh
play
yeah.
like there's like a drawing app on there that she likes to draw on, and sometimes she ends up on the internet somehow. So I
Hmm.
don't need any of that in
I
my life. So
I
I
get it.
avoid that I avoid that nonsense like the plague. Um, so yeah, if people can do them, not that stuff just ain't for me anymore. I am an old married man with kids.
That being said, if stuff were to wind up in the Fight Game Media chat, what happens there stays there.
Yeah, there you go. Um, you know what? So I had this little backstage news on Brace for Impact. I had to get off of the Observer site again because there was a lag between you and I went to the Fightful site. They don't cover BTI. So I don't know what happened on BTI. So I don't have the gimmick. So I'm sorry, folks. I can't do the BTI gimmick this
And
week
that
because
was
I don't know what
BTI.
happened. And that
That
was
was a
talking BTI. Somebody that wasn't good enough to be on TV this week won a match on BTI, and that was talking BTI. So there you go. But the first match we got up on Impact was Eddie Edwards taking on Ring of Honor legend, one of the greatest stars in the history of Ring of Honor, Booker of all Bookers.
Oh, whoa. Hold on. Shira versus Jack Price.
Huh. Who
That
the
was
fuck
talking
is Jack
BTI.
Price?
I don't know. I'm looking at this right now and more surprised than I anticipated being.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way. I'm glad we covered
Sorry.
BTI, everybody. All right, so Eddie Edwards versus Delirious. They had a decent little match. Eddie Edwards hit a vicious lariat before hitting a Liger bomb for a pin, but Delirious reversed it into a Ujigatami before transitioning into the Cobra stretch. Edwards tried to break the hold, but instead reversed it with a pin attempt for the pinfall win. So yeah, he had the Delirious had his the Cobra stretch submission hold, but Edwards just kind of rolled backwards on him and then pinned him like that. Kind of the old Steve Austin Bret Hart one from Survivor Series 1996. That deal.
Did you just compare Delirious versus Steve Austin?
Delirious is the Steve Austin of Ring of Honor.
I'm just thinking. I'm listening to you talk, and you
Yeah.
you compared a Delirious match to Steve Austin versus Bret Hart.
I'm just saying the same situation happened in the matches.
I just want that for the record that you compared Eddie Edwards versus Delirious to Steve Austin and Bret Hart. We'll leave it at that.
After the match, Edwards and Delirious shook hands before Edwards attacked Delirious viciously, hitting the Die Hard driver. He continued the attack, and then all of a sudden, Jonathan Gresham's music hit, and he made his return to Impact Wrestling. He chased Edwards off. and to evade the octopus. So he tried to put the octopus on him. Edwards took off, man. So a pretty cool return, man. I really enjoyed this. Like I knew on the spoilers that he had come back, but the fact that he's in the company, I think that makes this a much bigger deal because guys come to Impact, they come in and out and they have matches here and there, and they don't really get behind them. But now I feel like he's going to be around long enough where they can get behind him. They can push Gresham into getting a main event match with Josh Alexander. Absolutely.
I put the title on Jonathan Gresham, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't put it over, not over Josh, maybe as a transitional, but I wouldn't put it over Josh.
We're knocking on the door of a year with Josh as champion at this point.
I know we just need a heel. I think we need to transition over to a heel.
Why can't Jonathan Gresham? I think in time. Okay, so I thought Jonathan Gresham in AEW could have been AEW ROH could have been interesting as a heel. We didn't get it, but I thought that would have been an interesting transition.
Was he ever a heel, like a main event heel in Ring of Honor? I know he was kind of a.
The Foundation was kind of its thing, but I mean, like,
he just kind of feels like he wants to be Dory Funk Jr., and kind
Dory
of
Funk Jr. was a heel.
He was whenever they were a tag team, but as the champion, he was kind of like it depended on the opponent, right? He could be a baby or the location. I just feel like he just kind of wants to do his wrestling matches, right? And
are you like familiar with Dory Funk Jr.? Like, have you like personality wise and stuff like that? Because Jonathan Gresham is a very interesting comparison that you just made.
I just meant that he wants to be kind of an old school classic wrestler, and not an over the top
boring
character. Yeah, but his matches are exciting at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So the character,
yeah.
There's not much to the character, right? Now, Dory Funk with his brother Terry as tag team champions in Japan, that was fucking interesting. Well, those matches were a bit wild.
Because he had Terry in there.
He had Terry. Yeah.
Wild man. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Dory Funk was not the greatest comparison. Maybe Jack Briscoe.
No,
you know what I mean? Oh, okay.
I really do.
Yeah, that's he just doesn't seem like character. Like it almost seems like character work kind of annoys him a little bit, and he wants to wrestle. Okay. So, and he just seemed uncomfortable whenever they turned him heel in AEW. And I know that he didn't get it like a lot of preparation for it, but when they turned him heel, he just seemed very uncomfortable doing it. Like it just wasn't him. But who knows? Maybe Scott and the boys can, turn him heel and turn him into a character and make him some money one day.
We need some main event heels over here too, man, to be quite honest with you. So
yeah, that's true. Scott D'Amore was in the back talking to Josh Alexander. He put over Mike Bailey after he challenged Alexander for the belt. Alexander said he would confront Bully Ray during his match. Bully Ray's match was next. But D'Amore told him to refrain from doing so. Tommy Dreamer interrupted him and apologized to Alexander. And Alexander basically told him to eat shit and was suspicious of Dreamer with Bully Ray's devious antics. There was nothing much to that. So we'll just go to so they're still doing the D'Amore is kind of like a mentor to Josh, and he's his boss at the same time, and just trying to get him to not like overreact to certain situations. And it's like, bro, he beat up his wife. This is pro wrestling. Why are you not letting him go to the ring and attack Bully Ray? Like,
it's consistent. It's consistent.
Yeah,
exact same thing he did with Moose. Like the only person that ever has to face repercussions on this show for anything is Josh. Cody Deaner killed a man.
Right.
And Josh is getting lectures about his temper.
It's almost like he has this higher standard for Josh Alexander. Maybe that is the story. Maybe it's because he is Josh's mentor and he is Josh's coach. And so he doesn't hold everybody else, all the crazy people, to a higher standard. He holds him to the highest standard.
Or any standard.
Yeah. Because Deaner did stab a motherfucker. And he was a
legend in this company. A legend in this company. Stabbed him in the heart.
And didn't even get fined or reprimanded or anything.
No, Gail Kim didn't even get angry at him. He was just allowed to kill somebody. They're like, that motherfucker killed a man. We can't mess with him. He might hurt one of us.
Yeah. Now, so we got
gave that guy a
Bully Ray.
So
we got Bully Ray versus the newest signee, the big star that they sent out a press release about, John Skyler. Bully Ray hit 3 body slams and a pile driver for the victory. So there goes Skyler's push.
lasted 1 week.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that they actually send out a press release, but Skylar made the announcement on a podcast, and then they
Oh,
sent
I
the
think
information
they
to all the different
did send
websites.
out a press release. That was a thing that happened. They gave him the Bram treatment. That was a
Yeah.
thing. So, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it
But
is John Scott, why he's here,
yeah.
so
Yeah. I was like, whenever they, it's not, I wasn't weird that they signed Skylar. It was weird that they announced that they signed Skylar, considering his place in the company the last time we saw him was essentially doing things like this, just losing in really quick matches. So I found that interesting. So it made it seem like they were excited about the signing. And it turns out that no, he's in the same position that he was in whenever he left before. So
you gotta build up that guy to make sure Bully gets over, because that's what's important. That Bully Ray is always over.
hey, he's in the main event. After the match,
Don't remind me.
Tummy Dreamer confronted Bully Ray, and the two began to overact and be melodramatic community theater. Yeah, they've been friends for a long time. Bully said Dreamer was a failure, said some shit about his mom, and Bully then told Dreamer didn't give a shit about his mom, to which Dreamer went for an extensive rant before challenging Dreamer on the spot. Bully Ray instead walked to the back. So there you go, people. Bulky Ray and Tummy Dreamer.
Acting! We are
Yeah,
acting to the
yeah.
back of the rows. I hate this shit.
Yep. Moving on. Waste of time. Major players. Mid Cardona. Just kidding. Matt Cardona. And I haven't called him that in a long time, but he kind of
Well,
is a
he's
mid
being
Carder
mid
here.
Cardona right now, quite frankly.
You know, it's because I think we're waiting for him to go back to WWE. That's on the
You could
table
take
again.
you could take
Yeah.
victory laps on that one.
Yeah, it came out last week or the week before that Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona are in talks to do a reality show for WWE,
Total
and
Divas, right? That's got to be what
so
this is, right? Return of Total
that
Divas.
either Total Divas or their own show, who knows? But and Cardona's being linked. I've heard people link him to Royal Rumble. That was my prediction a couple months ago. Whenever the mass exodus started to happen, I was like, "Yep, he's going. He'll probably be in the Royal Rumble." And sure enough, there's rumors that he's going to be in the Rumble. He just wants to be Matt Cardona versus Zack Ryder, but either way is fine with me. If he's in WWE, I see more value in the name Zack Ryder. Doesn't really matter as long as he's playing the Matt Cardona
There's no
character. It doesn't matter what you
value.
call him.
There's no
Yeah,
value in Zack Ryder in 2022. There's no
no,
value in
but
him. The only value is he'll get paid a lot to get beat up a lot. He gets to be the
yeah,
jobber to the stars, which is what I think he really wants to do, because he's had to work really hard these last 2 years to make a living. And then if he gets to go there, he gets to go back home. He doesn't have to work very hard anymore. He can go hang out in
yeah,
catering and eat his salad and, go do a job every couple weeks on main event. It'll be great.
and they'll let him sell his toys off of his
Those
show
toys.
now.
He gets his own spot on Triple H's gauntlet, that meme that goes
Yeah.
around. I'm sure it'll be
Oh
great for
yeah.
him.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, Cardona and Myers took on Decay. Well, mostly Decay. Trey Miguel, before the match, Trey Miguel attacked Crazy Steve and did the NWO spray paint on his back. Um, they almost stopped the match, but Crazy Steve said he could continue. And they had a decent little match. Myers and Torres, yeah, it was fine. Myers and Torres got in the ring. Myers got Torres in the middle rope and kicked it. Steve bit Myers on the forehead, but Cardona caught him with a forearm strike to the back of Steve's neck before hitting the top rope neck breaker / Samoan drop combination on Steve for the pinfall win. Major players get the victory here. I get the feeling we're going to see major players in the Motor City Machine Guns at Hard to Kill coming up.
I bet the Guns can carry the major players to a really good match.
You know what? People were surprised by this. I certainly was, but at Overdrive, the major players versus Heath and Rhino was pretty damn good. Mainly because the crowd was just so into it.
Sometimes the crowd makes a match. That's my thought on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought it was a very enjoyable 3 to 3.5 star match that was like 8.5 minutes long, and I really enjoyed it.
It was fine for what it was. No problem.
Yep. Next, we go to Scott D'Amore. He's moderating a contract signing backstage between champion Jordan Grace and Mickey James to make their match Hard to Kill. James told Grace that she would have another legendary moment. And then Mickey James was accusing Grace of basically acting like the match was a foregone conclusion that Grace was going to win. So they argued back and forth before Tasha Steelz interrupted, basically calling out Mickie James, saying that she wanted a match with her before Hard to Kill. And a lot of people got involved, and now we got a tag team match next week. So it's going to be Grace and Mickie James versus Savannah Evans and Tasha Steelz.
Cool. That should be fun.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a good match.
Mm-hmm.
Bailey was before Bailey was interviewed backstage by Gia Miller, they actually cut to a video that got posted on social media over the week or since last week after Alexander's match with Speedball Bailey, where they went 60 minutes. And it was basically the locker room giving Speedball a standing ovation as they come through. Kenny King interrupts it and says, everybody needs to show respect to Speedball. He had a great match. I really respect what you've done. He took a sip of water and then spit it all over Speedball's face and pushed him. So we're continuing that feud. So maybe, hopefully we'll get the match here pretty soon with those two guys. Next, we go to Alan Angels with Diener and Khan versus Sami Callihan. Well, Sami Callihan lost to Big Con last week, so this week he's got to beat Alan Angels, and that's exactly what happened. Boom, hit a cactus power driver on Angels for the pinfall win. Fine little match. I don't know about this feud, but here we go.
You know, Diener was kind of standing like Mr. Burns. It means at ringside. Most of this one's doing the excellent thing.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not a fan of this new Diener character. Not a fan.
Yeah, I feel like he should have an orb, one of those orbs, and just kind of carry it around. He needs to get the hood, make his beard a bit longer. Like, just go all out. Make yourself into like a cartoon character.
Just become Saruman and just do that. You know, why not?
Yeah.
Like,
do the whole thing.
You already killed a man.
Yeah, so after Sami won, Big Con attacked Callihan from behind, laying punches on Callihan until Diener instructed him to stop. Diener instructed Con to get him into the full Nelson to allow Angels to get his retribution, which Angels responded by hitting a spinning heel kick on Callihan. Diener sat on top of Callihan after the beatdown.
So who's going to team with Sami to fight these guys?
I don't know. I think they'll probably do a one-on-one match with Diener at some point.
But he's got to have a tag partner. Like, it's a 3-on-1. Like, even Sami Callihan has to have a friend at some point.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. So, look, they're hurting for talent. Jake Christ is out there. That was Sammy's guy from Ohio versus Everything, and
the good Christ.
Yeah, the good Christ. He's been sober like almost 2 years now and got himself in a pretty good shape. So maybe that's a guy that they bring back. He's a former X Division champion. So I could see that. What I don't see is John Moxley, his tag team partner on the Indies.
No.
So
Tony Khan isn't that kind to Impact. Not giving him John Moxley as no.
He'll let him go to Pro Wrestling Revolver, but he won't be letting him go to Impact.
Not to Impact. I would actually really like to watch that. John Moxley, Sami Callihan versus the design. I forget what we call it. This is not violent, but what do we call him now?
It's the design. Yeah.
The design. That's so stupid. I would watch. The match would be fun though. Like just 3-on-2. That would actually kind of rule.
Yes. You
Yes.
know what? I'm going to change my opinion because look, we all know that the Moxley thing. There's not a hope in hell that happens. That's not happening. All right. Mance Warner. I would like to see them bring over Old Manser.
Yes, I like that.
And who's his tag team partner in Prestige? Matthew Justice. Bring those two guys, Mance Warner and Matthew Justice. Bring those two guys. They're all hardcore guys from the Midwest. I think that would work. Do a 3-on-3. Just go crazy. Just have a fucking death match. All 6 of them.
It's sold. Let's do that.
Yeah. Count me in there. Next, we go to Giselle Shaw and Jai Vidal. They're walking backstage before they confronted Deonna Purrazzo. And Purrazzo was calling Shaw the Yoko Ono of Vexed. That's pretty funny. Purrazzo demanded Shaw demanded Shaw apologize to her for ruining Chelsea Green's career and her current run in Impact. But Shaw tried to sweet talk Purrazzo to team up against the Death Dolls for the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships. So essentially, we have no tag team, so we have to create another new tag team. So that's the challenge for the titles.
Okay. Is this going to get me in trouble when I say this? But like, we don't need to have these belts, really. It's more work than, it gives people something to do, but we don't really have a division. Much. We just have champs and people for them to feud with every month,
Yeah. It's just more props and more reasons to get people on TV, but really you're
which is
just
fine.
creating, yeah, but you're just creating makeshift tag teams. There's no feuds,
No,
right? There's no long term stories.
there is no long term stories because we don't have enough depth,
No,
you know. But yeah, I mean it's what it is. It's fine.
it's like if you're not challenging for the Impact Knockouts title, then you can just form a team to go for the tag titles for a while. Yeah, yeah, is what it is.
Mhm.
And then there was a mysterious figure, a vignette of a mysterious figure saying that without the darkness there is no light, and without conflict there's no victory. And it was Taylor
Mordecai.
Wilde who,
I thought it was
nope,
going to be Mordecai. Oh,
It's Taylor Wilde who's doing her best Miss Cleo as she is throwing around tarot cards apparently. So I guess Taylor Wilde's a witch now. Is that what we're doing?
sure. I guess. I guess. Like, I don't know. This is not. I looked at her Twitter, and she's got some weird like. She definitely has some thoughts on some things. I don't know about this one though. As far as a wrestling
No.
gimmick goes, mm,
Yeah, well, she
mm.
originally came back and tried to be a punk rocker, but I think a lot of us that have ever been to punk concerts saw right through it. Like it's like, okay, you're clearly not this person. It's kind of like that one girl in NXT that Darby Allin called out for not being a skateboarder. It's like, yeah, you never actually use that skateboard. You just carry it to the ring, right? So Taylor Wilde was like definitely a poser.
Yeah, she was doing the punk rock thing, but she came to the ring dressed like one of the ice cream scoopers from Stranger Things. So it was like,
Yeah.
this is really the gimmick you want. Now she's
Yeah.
gonna. Now she's. I mean, Kaya McKenna on the Indies. She's kind of like a witch. You know, is kind of like I don't know. I don't know tarot cards.
Yeah. I
Eh.
don't know. Maybe I mean if she goes full blown Miss Cleo and starts like her own 1-900 number
Oh, that
and
would be
starts
great. I'm all in.
okay,
If we do
yeah,
that, yes, sold.
maybe they'll just call her like the impact medium or something like that, and she's like talking to people about their futures and shit. I think I might be interested in that.
I can actually hear Hannafin saying those words in my
And
head.
the impact medium coming
Taylor
down to the
Wilde.
ring. Yeah, and the impact medium hits the hardest part of the ring for a pinning opportunity.
Here's the problem with that is like this kind of like being a medium. So guys, won't you? Why wrestle your matches if you know who's going to win or lose?
That's true. Can they
Right?
predict their own futures or they predict other people's futures?
It's fiction. They can do whatever. Like it's not
Oh,
real.
true. Yeah.
So you make up the rules as you go along. It's just
Upinder Gujar and Joe Hendry versus Johnny Swinger and Zicky Dice. Talk about a main event tag team match anywhere. Hendry cut a promo before the match. Hendry cut a promo before their match saying that he did
selling
not
out
know
armories across the country with that one.
what weird things happened in Swinger's dungeon, but said that Hendry's dungeon only heard only one thing, and it's "I believe." That's so funny. I was just thinking, if you believe in magic. All right, Dice and Hendry began the match with Hendry hitting a scoop body slam on Dice almost immediately, and then eventually we got that. Bhupinder Gujar and Joe Hendry. Sorry, I was reading I like to read the promo stuff because you get more out of that, and then I immediately went into the play-by-play on the match. The match wasn't very long. Gujar and Hendry won, so there you go.
We're pushing Joe Hendry right now. I mean, I believe.
Yeah, I believe. Moose chased Hendry down the ramp with a chair, which allowed Dice to swing a double team Gujar. So yeah, Moose came down and chased Hendry away, but Gujar finished him by himself. So there
You
you go.
know,
And then
I'm interested to see what a Moose Joe Hendry match was going to be like.
yeah, yeah, I'm into it. I think we're gonna get them for at Hard to Kill for the digital media title. I think Hendry in Atlanta is gonna be super popular. Moose is always over as a heel. I kind of like this, and I like them putting Hendry up against one of their top stars right away and feuding them. I think this is interesting.
I do too, and I actually think this is the most interesting that anything around the digital media title has been since this albatross was created. Like this is
Yeah.
actually interesting. Kudos. And I like diametrically opposed personalities when you're feuding. And you can't get more different than Moose and Joe Hendry. So this is good. I like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I dig it. Absolutely. Next, we go to John Schuyler and Jason Hotch. They're backstage after Schuyler's loss. Hotch said that he would love to face him in the ring, to which Schuyler responded by saying, I would love to face you too. Or I would love to step in the ring with you too, but as your tag team partner. And then they agreed to a truce, forming a tag team. So
This was really awkward.
And they did the limp handshake thing, like
They
the
did.
the wrestler handshake. Yeah.
It was real. This whole sequence was weird, man. I was, yeah, man. This whole thing was like, what are we doing here? This was odd.
Are wrestlers just producing themselves in these things? Because that was not good.
If someone was producing them, they're not going to want to lay claim to it.
No, no, no. But what was really good, and they would want to lay claim to it, is Steve Macklin cutting a promo backstage, complaining that he can do anything and beat every former world champion, yet cannot get a title shot.
He's right,
Macklin
by the
said
way.
he is right. Macklin said that Rich Swann was at the wrong place, the wrong time, declaring mayhem for all on his quest for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. So, I I can't. I wonder when we're gonna get this Alexander Macklin match. I'm just waiting for it.
They've been not, I wouldn't say building to it, but they've been kind of tap dancing around this for months now. And I keep saying, well, we need a main event heel. We need a main event heel. Are they ever just going to pull the trigger on Macklin and try to make him a main event heel?
So originally I wanted Cardona to be the guy, but it looks like he's probably going back to WWE, right? So I think they should shock the world after Alexander has to beat Bully Ray, and then immediately after they need to put the title. I'd put the title on Macklin right away. Let's just make another guy, like make a guy. See what the guy's got.
Yeah, that's what we did with Josh. Made Josh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with this. I think he's really proven a lot over the last year, quite honestly. He's turned out to be a really good promo too. Like, I don't think anybody really knew that he, like, when WWE, like, nobody ever talked about the other guy from the what were they called? Fortunate Sons? What were they called?
The Forgotten Sons.
Forgotten Sons. No one ever said that guy can cut a good promo. And I'm glad to discover that he can. He's been great here. Let's make him a guy.
Yeah. I'm down with that, man. Next we go to the main event. It's the Impact Tag Team Championship match and the major players have been banned from ringside. So there you go. We got Heath and Rhino versus the Motor City Machine Guns. I'm not going to go through an entire play-by-play, but they had a good, maybe 12 to 15-minute match. A decent main event here. You're not really going to, beat last week's main event. That's just not going to happen. So why even try? But I thought that they had a good match. And we got new tag team champions, the Motor City Machine Guns, standing tall to end the broadcast here, man.
All is right with the world. Excuse me. I had a burp I was trying to hold in.
Okay.
Inappropriate time for that. No, I think this is great, man. I think the more we can, the second coming of the Machine Guns has been great. And like, I love doing more with them. I think that I would love to get these guys more involved in New Japan proper, not just Strong, right? I just like seeing it. Big fan. Super happy this happened.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think this leads to either them versus the major players, or they might just do a 3-way match at Hard to Kill. I could see that happening. Just get them all in there at the same time, and then that's probably the last time we see the major players. Now, watch, I say this, and like Impact somehow pulls a rabbit out of the hat, and they re-sign Cardona. I don't know. I just don't see it, but because he's never been under contract here.
Is he signed? Yeah. I don't know.
No. So re-signed wouldn't be the proper terminology, but he's never actually signed here. He just kind of works dates, and that's why they could never really fully get behind him because this was never his top priority. He just kind of worked everywhere. Everywhere was his priority. And then specifically GCW, I think, was where he liked to have the fun, where he liked being the most. So
do you think Cardona kept himself open because the ultimate goal was to go back to WWE and he wanted the freedom to just be able to go, yep, I'm going?
Yeah.
I think so
absolutely. Too. Yeah. I think that if AEW came calling for a contract, he would have went there too.
I agree with that too.
But because they didn't, I think that he just wanted to stay a free agent, and just make sure that he can go back as soon as they were ready for him. And right now, Triple H is signing everybody they got fired during the pandemic. Everybody that got fired during those 2 years, he's brought them back. And so that didn't already go to AEW. And this would be the latest example of that. Because it's like really, why do they need Eric Young? They don't. And that's not a slight against Eric Young. They just don't. They don't.
They got a lot of producers, I don't know why they need another, to be honest with you. They've got how many do they really need on that show? And I guess that's where Eric Young wants to be. That's cool, but it does seem like, and again, when you are leading, when you're leading a company and leading, a small group, you want to have people around you that you like and trust, and you want to
Yeah.
make sure that your guys are in position for now. And
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
now.
Well, yeah, for now. Well, that's going to do it for now on the free feed of Brace for Impact. Head over to patreon.com/fightgamemedia. We're going to keep the conversation going. So, yeah, all of you guys listening on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or watching us on YouTube, join our Patreon group, man. We got a lot of cool content there, and we got a lot of extra time coming up today. We're going to talk again, like I said, Mandy Rose. We're going to talk Sasha Banks, probably a little Vince McMahon stuff. And then, of course, we have some more Impact news, Impact signings, and things like that. And I think there's some stuff going on in Japan we want to talk about. So
Yeah,
we'll see if we can get to it all, man. But that's gonna do it for us. Patreon, stick around.